Remember a few weeks back when House Oversight Committee Chairman Darrell Issa asked 150 corporations and trade associations for help on what to target to deregulate, basically asking them, what can I do for you? Well, they responded big time. So far, Issa has refused to release their responses, but 33 of the companies responded to a request from Citizens for Responsibility and Ethics in Washington. So we have a sample of their wish list. The American Chemistry Council wants Issa to crack down on recent proposal to increase the EPA standards on boilers and incinerators. Those regulations would cut down on pollutants that are harmful to children. Now, who doesn't want more pollutants that are particularly harmful to children? Then there's the National Multi-Housing Council. And who doesn't like the EPA's safety regulations that prevent contractors from releasing lead-based paint into the air during home renovations? So they say the regulations pose a, quote, major obstacle for housing market recovery. Great. More lead for everybody. And when I can't leave out the International Sleep Products Association, they're mad about the flammability test for children's mattresses. So if these companies have their way, your kids could be pumped up full of pollutants and poisoned by lead paint, but it really wouldn't matter because they'd be sleeping on mattresses that could burst into flames. Look, of course, those are extreme examples, but let's hope any of that doesn't happen. But you do need a careful balance of safety for the public and efficiency for business. But in this case, the Republicans are only listening to the companies whose sole interest is in making more money. The less regulations there are, the more money they make. That's why they buy Republican politicians in the first place. Now let's look at the Business Roundtable. They came out with a laundry list of 22 regulations. They divided up into 3 categories. They don't like any of these: healthcare and retirement benefits, financial reform, and environmental regulation. These guys are against CEOs having to disclose their earnings. They don't want protections for whistleblowers, and they really don't like the regulation of greenhouse gases. And the GOP is already working hard to appease these guys. Yesterday, House Republicans introduced a bill to eliminate EPA regulation of carbon emissions. Lovely. Congressman Fred Upton and Ed Whitfield, who are spearheading the effort, released the following statement, quote, "We firmly believe federal bureaucrats should not be unilaterally setting the national climate change policy." Oh, no, of course not. National climate change policy should be left up to big business. Joining me now is David Sirota, nationally syndicated columnist and host on AM 760 in Colorado. He's also the author of the book, The Uprising. And David, I'm going to give you a nickname. I'm going to start calling you The Uprising from now on. I like that. I think it sounds cool.
I love it. I love it.
All right, so the Republican Party, how bought are they? 80%, 90%, or 100%?
That's an impossible question. But one thing, Cenk, give Darrell Issa credit here, right? He came out and he was honest about how the system works. So I don't want to, I mean, I'm saying that a little tongue-in-cheek, but here's the thing. He came out and he said, listen, hey, big money interests, you want to buy policy? Here's how you buy it. You tell me exactly what you want, and we're going to try to deliver. And the problem with this is really, in a process way, is usually what has happened in the past is that industries had to come to the government and testify and tell us what they wanted. Now he's doing it through this letter writing situation where the public won't necessarily know who's asking for the policy when it ultimately fits into the bill that the Republicans offer.
So how do they do it? And I guess they do it with the money, right? They get the money from the industry guys, they run for office, and they pretend to be for the people. Then they turn around and go, okay, how do I pay you back? And they do this. How do we let people know, other than this, obviously, that these guys aren't on your side? They don't care if you get, you have to suffer pollution in your local area or whatever. They're for the guys who pay their bills.
Well, I think the public knows that in a general sense. I think the public is rightly suspicious of Congress, rightly suspicious. Every poll shows suspicious of money and politics. But I think every time a story like this comes out, it reiterates just how granular the corruption really is, just how in the micro it really is in terms of legislating different lines, different regulations of bills. So it's important to continue highlighting this, to reiterate that money, as you suggest, money buys things in politics, just like it buys things in the rest of the economy.
Right. Real quick, David, do you think they're going to be successful? They're going after the EPA hard. That's their top target. How successful do you think they might be?
I think they're going to be pretty successful if the Democrats roll over, and that's a huge if right now. The president is focused on being, quote-unquote, pro-business, and that may mean that the president tries to appease the Republicans, who, of course, are shilling for their big money interests, and we may see that come to fruition when it comes to EPA policymaking.
All right, let's hope it doesn't happen, but I'm a little worried. David Sirota, thanks for your time tonight. And by the way, I should say, I'm sorry, the Uprising, thank you for your time. All right, we'll be right back.